Hello class. In last video we have talked about the program where we have written a function, user defined function called find sum, and the function was not having any argument as well as there was no return type. Okay, so that was our program where we haven't written any arguments, we haven't passed any arguments, or we haven't written anything through our function. Now let me continue as the same program, okay, in our next file. So I'm just going to copy this code in our second program. So this is our second program. Now the same thing is there, function declaration. Now we don't want to call it twice this time, so just I'm removing. Okay, so this is function declaration, this is function definition, and this is calling of function. Okay, now in this function is not returning anything and not having any parameters. But let's say I want to return something from my function. Okay, now what I should return? So I want to return sum. Okay, so my function is finding sum. Now we want to return this sum to main function. Always remember that who can return something. So the called function can return something. So this is a main, and from here we are calling this function, and this one is called function. Okay, we have called this function. Okay, so this function will return some value to the main function from where it has been called. Okay, so I want to return the value of sum to the main function. So if I am going to return, then we should not have this output. Okay, so I'm just cut it and paste it here because I want to return sum from here to this function, main function. Now how can I return? Very simple, just write down return sum because I want to return some value. Okay, so I have written return sum. I have find sum and I want to return sum, so I am just returning sum. Now what I am returning? Sum. Okay, now I have told you that what should be return type of your function. So the return type of function depends on what function is returning. Now look at here, my function is returning sum and that is of integer type. So the return type of function should be int. Okay, if my sum variable is a float type, I will write float. But here my sum variable is int type, so I am writing int. Okay, and same thing we should write in declaration too. So we are writing int find sum. Is it okay? So we have find sum. We are returning this sum to the main function. Now while we are returning sum to the main function, it should store it somewhere. Okay, so from here, from this function, we are returning to the main function. So if someone is giving you something, then you should have some container. Okay, so this function is returning sum, then this function should have something to store it. So I am creating a sum function here. Okay, what I have done, this is returning sum and I have created here a sum function, sum variable. Now instead of sum variable, I can create sum1 2. That is up to us, whatever you want to create. Okay, so this function is returning sum and I have this sum variable value in my sum1 variable and I will print here sum1. Okay, so it is easy. How can you return something? So when you want to return something through your function, first thing is write return statement. Second is verify that what your function is returning. If your function is returning int value, write int return sum. And while you are returning here, in a main function there should be something which will store the value returned by function. So here we have variable called sum1 which will store the value returned by find sum function, and we have print the sum. Okay, and the output of this code will same. There will be no difference in the output of the code. Look at here. So enter first number. I'm entering 5, 6, and we have sum of two numbers. So we have learned the second category of function, and that is, now what we are having return type. Okay, so function with return type. Okay, with return type and without arguments, because function is returning something, so there is a return type but there is no argument. So function with return type and without argument. Okay, and this is a program of function to find sum of two numbers. Okay, thank you.